Good. It's Chris Roberts here for Fight Hub TV. I'm joined by Eddie Hearn. How's things?
Good, mate. Very good.
Putting it in as always.
Sorry?
Putting it in as always.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I can't work any harder.
Yeah, that's it.
They'll never outwork me.
Where have you been?
They might outsmart me. They might outbrain me, but they will not outwork me.
So what, last 3 weeks?
Last 3 weeks, I can't even remember. Right, we was in Monaco, weren't we? I was in America. I was in Kansas. So I went from Kansas to Monaco, Monaco to Florence. Then I had to go to LA yesterday or the day before, and now we're in Sheffield. So I'm seeing all corners of the world.
How are you doing it?
Just getting on with it, mate. Just getting on with it. Just get up every day and go to work. Some days you don't want to do it. Doesn't matter what you do. Doesn't matter if you're a boxing promoter or putting the bins out. Some days you just don't want to do it.
Fair play.
But you do it.
So we're in Sheffield. Kell Brook. Potential banana skin on this one?
Yeah, I mean, on paper, you should say he's going to deal with Zerafa. Zerafa, I think anyone who looks at Brook goes, he's got 2 broken eye sockets. You know, he's at the end of his career. I can beat him. But when you get in there, it's a very different thing. Unfortunately for Zerafa, he's meeting a guy who is probably more motivated than I've ever seen him in his career. Even when we first signed him, which is bizarre because 12 months ago I sat down with him, he was probably 14 stone. And I felt like he would probably never fight again. But he was kind of saying to me, just sling me in a big one, and then that might be it. Now he's talking about fighting for 3 years. So Zerafa's picked a bad spot. But if you watch Zerafa like against Quillen, he has a go. I mean, Quillen's a big middleweight, but that probably won't suit him in this fight. But we'll see. Listen, a lot of fighters just freeze. But he has been on the big stage before, and he's an Aussie, and he's game. But I just think he won't be good enough.
So you say he's looking potentially at 3 years into his
what
career.
What talking about?
What,
I mean,
what are his goals and aspirations then in terms of that? I mean,
big fights. I mean, world titles are always nice, but he's won that. So just marquee fights. Obviously, he wants to make money, but wants to test himself against the best. He wants the Errol Spence rematch. That's a fight that he'd love, but he could only do that really if he was fixed at 147. I never thought he'd make 147 again. He's 153 or 4 now today. So he could make 147 tomorrow. He doesn't have to, and he'll probably weigh 150 or something like that. But it just shows you that if he's on it, 147's not as much as a problem as it is when he's ballooning out of camp and then he's coming back down.
In terms of his direction, it doesn't seem too crystal clear. That's why I ask you about, you know, the 3-year plan. You know, is it a welterweight, a super welterweight? I think
in his head, I think he's thinking welterweight. You know, he's thinking.
Is that for Khan? Is it? Is that?
No,
is that really
I think that's for everybody. You know, I mean, this will put him mandatory to Jarrett Hurd. So that's a big fight.
That's super though, yeah.
Yeah, super welterweight. But he's also a big super welterweight, Jarrett Hurd. You know, and then I think other fights are at welterweight. I think like the Khan thing, his head has been on 147. You know, and then he's realised, you know what, this is actually a lot easier than it used to be. Well, that's because he's living the life now. So. You know, we'll see what he weighs tomorrow. We'll see how he performs. But it's nice to see him like this. You know, there's a side to Kell Brook that a lot of people haven't seen, which is, you know, not just the poor discipline, but you know, times where things haven't gone his way in life, and he's been down, he's been a little bit depressed, and you know, it's affected his preparation, and that's one of the reasons why he took the Golovkin fight, because you never knew with Kell Brook when it was going to be his last fight. You know, people think that move was crazy. It was quite crazy, but so many things had happened in his life that he had to take that opportunity, because you just never know with him when it was going to be the last one. I feel totally different now. If he had this mindset 3 years ago, we probably wouldn't have taken the Golovkin fight. But now he's thinking, I want to capitalise and actually finish my career in style, rather than just sort of grabbing the money and then going down the pub.
Some good fights on the card as well. Obviously Anthony Fowler.
Yep.
You know, a lot of fights where, you know, potentially you can teeter on, you know, progressing onto the next level. John O'Carroll, sorry, another one. Just give us a summary of
I mean,
the
Fowler. What I like about Dave Coldwell and Adam Booth is that they're turning down opponents for not being good enough. As a promoter, people always presume that you make every fight. Not really the case. You're under the instruction of the training team, management team, about the pace that the fighter wants to go at. So you look at Josh Kelly, for example. David Mbisi is a massive step up. But this is great from Adam Booth, and I love it, because if he beats him, where does he go? he's got to be fighting top 15 fighters in the world on a regular basis. Anthony Fowler is in with another good quality opponent who's going to be tough, going to come to win. Once he beats him, where does he go? Really to Cheeseman or to Fitzgerald? So, like, if Dave Caldwell wants to go Paz, Fitzgerald, Cheeseman, I'm so happy with that. It is a bit of a shame that two of your charges, who I believe could be world class, have to meet domestically. But if the money's good for them and they want it, the fans definitely want it, may the best man win.
It's good for the fans.
It is good for the fans, but you know, I probably get a little bit of stick, you know, that I talk too openly about the truth of the sport and actually the dangers of the sport and how tough it is. And whilst I love the fans and they clearly love me, you can't just do everything for the fans. You know what I mean? Like, maybe that's just being too honest. People die in this sport. People get damaged in this sport. You know what I mean? You can't just.
Obviously, you've got the example on the weekend.
Yeah, but you can't just say, "Oh, mate, the fans want it, so you got to do it. Get in there." You've got to make sure people are looked after. You've got to make sure they're rewarded properly. You've got to make sure they're guided correctly. That when they do take a risk in the right fight, they're ready for those fights. All things that may be boring to a fan. I'm just telling you the truth. So, you know, if the money's right for Fowler and Cheeseman, and they'll, by the way, they won't just accept any offer I give them. They'll want as much as possible. But it's got to be the right money for that risk and for that challenge. Because I could take them both to world level without fighting each other. But if they want to fight each other, I'm over the moon. And the fans will be over the moon too. But everything's got to be fair.
Okay, I want to ask you about obviously the weekend. You know, Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder. You know, obviously you've seen your tweets, you talked about it today as well. What was your sort of initial reaction? Obviously, one to the knockdown, well, the second knockdown in particular.
Yeah, I mean, the first knockdown was a weird one. I thought Fury won the fight. I thought he won by 2 rounds. So, you know, whilst I guess you can argue a draw, because on my scorecard, if 1 round's a different way, it's a draw. I didn't see it as a draw. I had Fury winning the fight. 115, 111 to Wilder was a joke. I don't see how this is even possible. The knockdown was, you know, so dramatic. He's really good, Fury, at riding shots, and he was even riding the shots on the way down. If you watch the left hook, the right hand wasn't. It was big, but it wasn't huge. But the left hook, he sort of almost sees it coming and goes backwards with it. I'm interested to know if he was out or not. He says he was. I don't think he was, but it was so dramatic. I mean, you know, and a lot of people wouldn't have got up.
Were you surprised at how good Dennis Chin was in that case? I mean, because I don't think it's ever been tested to that level.
I don't think he got hit as flush as Wilder would have liked to have hit him in the fight.
He got hit twice though, didn't he?
Yeah, but not. I've seen Wilder hit much flusher than that. But that's because it's hard to hit Fury flush. It wasn't bad luck. It's because of Fury's skill. He's a great mover and he's hard to nail him. But Fury proved me wrong. Not just once now, twice. He did it against Klitschko and he did it against Wilder. And I give him a lot of credit, I give him a lot of respect, not just for getting up, and actually not just for winning the fight, but actually getting himself in a position for that fight. I still believe AJ beats him every day of the week, and I believe he demolishes Deontay Wilder, who I think is actually showing himself as not quite as good as people think he is, but a big puncher.
So do you think we've got a situation where potentially Deontay's stock has dropped a little bit, Tyson's has gone up?
I don't think his stock's dropped, because I think the event in itself raised his stock. But it was a poor performance and everyone thought he lost. So I don't think his stock has grown dramatically enough for him to say. That's why people ask me saying, was it good or bad for you and AJ? And I think in the Wilder negotiations, it's very good in the fact that if he would have won easy and looked sensational, he would have said, I want this, I want that. And if he would have got beat, we couldn't have had the fight because he had a rematch clause. But also, they've got a rematch, which could happen, which is a big fight. Which, you know, they could do that instead of fighting AJ. So our priority is to fight Wilder because AJ wants to be undisputed champion. AJ would secretly like to fight Fury. But he does want the belts. He wants that legacy. But he's going to fight everybody. He's going to be around for 5 or 6 years. So he ain't going nowhere. But fans want it now. And that's my job. We must give him. Really, it would be disappointing if we don't get Wilder or Fury next.
Is there more money for yourself or Joshua in Fury or fighting Wilder?
The US TV money, the international TV money is much more significant. it kind of does the same numbers in the UK because there's only so many numbers you can do, if that makes sense. But there's a lot more international money, a lot more US money for the Wilder fight. But listen, both are huge fights. But you know, like I said, if it was just about the men, I think Joshua would probably want to fight Fury. But if it's about what it is about, which is legacy and becoming the undisputed champion, he wants to fight Wilder next.
And could there be any sort of fan influence on that in terms of the demand and Tyson Fury? And obviously, you know,
I think if you ask the British fight fans now who you want Joshua to face, the winner would be Fury. I think internationally, I think it'd be kind of split. If you ask the Americans, I think they'd want him to fight Wilder. But it doesn't really matter if it's Wilder or Fury. He wants the WBC title. He wants to be the undisputed champion. Once he's achieved that, it's done. All bets are off. Then you go into the fights that you want, the legacy fights, the fights that the fans want. I mean, I don't think the fans would be disappointed if he fights Wilder next for the undisputed heavyweight championship. But there is a big demand now for Joshua Fury, and that's a massive fight, by the way. Great fight that will happen.
Well, listen, thanks for talking to Fight Up TV at the end.
Nice one.
Good
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Always. Good man. Cheers.